the Middle East is once again engulfed in flames. Starting in October of 2023, the return of large-scale warfare in Gaza has reignited long-standing regional tensions and revived an old question. Why does the Middle East experience so many wars? And what sets it apart from other parts of the world in terms of violence, frequency, scale, and duration of conflict? In this video, we will attempt to explore the roots of conflict in the Middle East and identify several recurring patterns among them. Without further delay, let us begin. Middle East exceptionalism. Across the 20th and 21st centuries, numerous scholars have pointed to the concept known as Middle East exceptionalism to explain persistent instability. Middle East exceptionalism refers to the belief that the region contains a unique blend of characteristics that make conflict more likely. These include ethnic and religious diversity, strategic geographic positioning, and vast natural resource wealth. Together with additional factors, these elements have shaped the Middle East into a region often associated with violence, authoritarian governments, corruption, ineffective governance, and human rights violations. But this raises an important question. Is the Middle East truly the most conflict-ridden region on Earth, as commonly portrayed? In reality, it is not. According to a joint study conducted by Uppsala University and the Peace Research Institute of Oslo, examining the years between 1946 and 2008, the Middle East and Asia experienced the highest levels of conflict during the Cold War era. However, following the Cold War, Africa and parts of Asia surpassed the Middle East in total conflict numbers. While this challenges the notion that the Middle East is uniquely violent, it does not negate the fact that the region continues to experience an unusually high number of wars. Why does this persist? To answer that, we must examine several shared causes of conflict in the Middle East, keeping in mind that many of them overlap. Israel and its war with Palestine. The first and most evident cause is the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Since Israel declared independence in 1948, its legitimacy has been rejected by most Arab states. Over the decades, 9 major wars and conflicts have erupted between Israel and various combinations of Arab states, Palestinian factions, and allied militant groups. Initially, these wars stemmed from Arab rejection of Israel's existence, later intensified by Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories and the refusal to recognize a Palestinian state. This deadlock remains a central factor behind the ongoing Gaza war and persistent clashes involving Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, Iran, and Syria. Over time, several Arab nations have accepted Israel's existence. Egypt led the way in 1979, followed by Jordan in 1994. More recently, the United Arab Emirates, Sudan, Morocco, and Bahrain recognized Israel through U.S.-brokered agreements. Saudi Arabia was also nearing normalization before the Gaza war erupted. On multiple occasions, Israel and Palestine came close to peace, but each effort collapsed due to internal opposition or incompatible demands. This unresolved issue has fueled wars between Israel and Arab states, Israel and Palestinian groups such as the PLO and Hamas, and Israel and organizations like Hezbollah, while also driving tensions between Israel and Iran. Additionally, the displacement of Palestinian refugees into Lebanon contributed to internal instability, eventually triggering the Lebanese Civil War in 1975. Until a fair and durable solution addresses Israeli security concerns and Palestinian statehood aspirations, this conflict is likely to remain a catalyst for war. Tension between Iran and America, closely linked to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, is the enduring hostility between Iran and the United States. During the Cold War, Iran under the Pahlavi dynasty was a key American ally. However, resentment toward U.S. influence ran deep within Iranian society. Leftist factions opposed American involvement in the 1953 coup against Prime Minister Mossadegh, while religious conservatives opposed Western influence altogether. When these forces overthrew the monarchy in 1979, the new Islamic regime quickly designated the United States as its principal adversary, branding it the Great Satan. Hostilities escalated immediately. Iranian revolutionaries seized the U.S. embassy and held 52 American diplomats hostage for 444 days, while Washington supported Saddam Hussein's Iraq during its 1980 invasion of Iran. Although relations briefly improved at times, Iran and the U.S. have engaged in indirect conflict across the region ever since. Iran-backed militias attacking U.S. forces in Iraq, and since the Gaza war began, American assets have been repeatedly targeted by Iranian-aligned groups in Iraq, Syria, and the Red Sea. The U.S. response has included actions such as the assassination of Iranian commander Qasem Soleimani. While this rivalry has not resulted in full-scale war, it has consistently intensified regional conflicts. Oil. Any discussion of American involvement in the Middle East must address oil. The region contains nearly half of the world's known oil reserves, making it strategically vital. While it is tempting to attribute all Middle Eastern wars to oil, the reality is more nuanced. Many conflicts, including the Arab-Israeli wars and civil wars in Yemen and Lebanon, are not primarily driven by oil. Nevertheless, oil has played a decisive role in several wars. Saddam Hussein's decision to invade Iran in 1980 was influenced partly by the desire to control oil-rich territories such as Basra and Abadan. Similarly, Iraq's 1990 invasion of Kuwait aimed to eliminate debt and seize lucrative oil reserves. This act triggered the Gulf War and later contributed to U.S. involvement in Iraq during the War on Terror. The 2003 American invasion, officially justified by claims of weapons of mass destruction, remains controversial. Although oil interests were likely part of the calculation, given the Bush administration's ties to the energy sector, no direct evidence proves oil was the sole motive. The fact that Chinese and Russian firms later secured Iraqi oil contracts suggests broader strategic goals were also involved. Sectarian and ethnic factor. Sectarian and ethnic divisions represent perhaps the most significant drivers of Middle Eastern conflict. While colonial borders drawn after World War I are often blamed, this explanation is overly simplistic. The Ottoman Empire allowed considerable population movement, making homogeneous borders unrealistic. Moreover, demographics have changed dramatically over the past century. Although most Middle Eastern countries are Muslim majority, Islam is divided primarily between Sunni and Shia branches. The politicization of this divide, combined with the spread of Wahhabism and the resurgence of political Shiism after Iran's revolution, has intensified conflicts. Countries like Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon illustrate this complexity. Rivalry between Iran and Saudi Arabia has further inflamed sectarian tensions, as each backs aligned groups across the region. The Yemeni civil war and Syrian conflict demonstrate how sectarian dynamics, combined with foreign intervention, can escalate violence. Similarly, Lebanon's civil war emerged from demands for greater Muslim political representation. Ethnic identity has also fueled conflict, particularly among the Kurdish population spread across Turkey, Iraq, Iran, and Syria. Arab Spring or poor governance is a cause. Poor governance remains another major factor outside of exceptions such as Israel, Turkey, and wealthy Gulf states. Many Middle Eastern nations suffer from corruption, low living standards, and entrenched leadership. The Arab Spring uprisings sought reform, but instead unleashed instability. Resistance from ruling elites and foreign interference transformed protests into prolonged civil wars in Libya, Syria, and Yemen. Summary: in conclusion, wars are rarely caused by a single factor. Middle Eastern conflicts arise from overlapping causes, including foreign intervention, the Israeli-Palestinian issue, oil, sectarian and ethnic divisions, and weak governance. With growing concerns over future water scarcity, the region may face new challenges ahead. Until these deep-rooted issues are addressed, conflict in the Middle East is likely to continue. More geopolitics content is coming soon. Like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel. This is Kings and Generals, and we'll see you next time.